Good morning, the honorable teacher and our beloved friends. Today we are from group number one, consisting of Abraham, me, and Grady, and Hamid, as you can see here. And today we would like to discuss about word analysis or analyzing sentences using pipe-piping and V to T method. But before we get into the nitty-gritty of it, let's talk about the general idea. What is pipe-piping? In English, pipe-piping occurs when a WH expression, like what, which, who, that starts with a W and H in the front, when a WH expression drags its containing phrase with it to the front of the clause, or in other words, a WH expression that has a phrase attached to or right next to the WH expression and drags it along with WH expression to in front of the clause or before the clause. The sentence can contain a noun phrase or an NP, an adjective phrase or AP, an adverb phrase or adVP, or a prepositional phrase or PP. In short, pipe-piping equals a WH expression which is added to the phrase. Here are some examples for comparison, and the bolded words here are for focused words. She is 10 years old. And another example is, how old is she? And another form of that sentence would be, how is she old? Notice where the clause in this word is put after the WH question when it's piped, compared to the second sentence, which isn't piped, which sounds ungrammatical. The first sentence being the B, the second sentence being the C. Now, let's compare the words. Which house did she buy and which did she buy house? The original sentence is she bought that house. Now, if we were to revert it into another state of sentence, it would be the first form, which is the B. Which house did she buy? The WH expression here being the which, and the noun or the other expression being the house. And in the second form, which did she buy house? So the WH expression here separated from the object being talked about, which is the house. And the second sentence, end result, making the second sentence less grammatical. If you were to dissect it even more, this would be the syntax tree, where we divide the sentence into several different categories, starting with the clause phrase and then going all the way down to the basic verb and phrase. Now, notice how the which house in the bottom is moved to the front, but the house is also, or the object being talked about here, is right next to the WH expression and it's moved to the front before the clause. The clause here being did. The interrogative word, or in this case, which, has been piped, the noun house. And by pipe here mean it's dragged along with the WH expression and the noun to the very beginning before the clause. Here's the example of the second sentence, the ungrammatical sentence, in which the WH expression is separated with a noun, resulting in an ungrammatical sentence, as you can see in this chart right here. Now, this next part will be explained by my friend Grady. Time is yours.
All right, thank you for the chance. Now, pipe-piping also occurs in an embedded WH clause or WH clause. For example, Sarah likes someone's paper. For the first sentence, it will be Sam asked whose paper Sarah likes. And then Sam asked whose Sarah likes. paper. In the first sentences, which is same as whose paper Sarah likes, the WH question, which is being whose, is pipelining the noun phrase paper. Unlike the other sentence in which whose doesn't pipeline the word paper, which making it ungrammatical. All right, next slide, please. All right, and here is the diagram syntactic tree of the first sentence. In this sentence, the the word whose paper was moved into the first first word in, and the word whose has pipe the noun paper. Next slide, please. And this one for the ungrammatical one. Use who we are piping the word paper. Next slide.
Okay. So for the third sentence, we will be analyzing it with the V to T movement, but we have to know what is V to T movement. V to T movement is a part of movements in syntax, specifically.
Okay. Berarti
We will be analyzing it with the V to T movement. So we have to know what is V to T movement. V to T movement is a part of head movements in syntax. More specifically, movement of a finite main verb from the head V position of verb phrase into the head T position of tense tense phrase. We shall see that this kind of verb movement operation was productive in Elizabethan English or Old English, but is no longer productive in present-day English. However, an interesting aspect of negative sentence in Shakespearean English or Elizabethan English is that in auxiliaries finite clause, the main verb is positioned in front of not. For example, he heard not that. If not in if not in Elizabethan English is a verb phrase specifier, which is positioned at the leftmost edge of the verb phrase, how can we account for the fact that the verb ends up positioned in front of not in sentence like in the example above? The next slide, please. We can see in this tree diagram uh, the care from the verb finite move to the T finite. Why? Because using Chomsky's strength metaphor, we can suppose that finite T is strong in Elizabethan English and so must be filled. This means that in a sentence in which the T position is not filled by an auxiliary, like the sentence above, the verb moves from V to T in order to fill the strong T position. Next slide, please. In the tree diagram above, we can see that the strong tense affix in T attracts the closest verb, which it comments in this sentence, the verb care, to move to the T and attach to the tense affix, so that so that the affix is provided with a verbal host via movement, where the notation AF1 SGPR indicates that the affix has features making it as first person singular present tense. I think that's all from our group 1. Thank you for your attention. Good. morning.